I need some time to breathe.
Oh my goodness, everybody. I think we all just need to start off here by taking a deep breath because that was the craziest, most ridiculous, most absurd game I've ever witnessed. Welcome to our show, everybody. This is the women's game. We are live just moments after the U.S. women's national team friendly, but really
It was unfriendly.
enemy against Brazil, where the U.S. women's national team truly battled their way to a 1-0 win. This was one of the most physical games I have literally ever watched my whole entire life. There were an uncountable amount of cards, including
I think they're probably still getting handed out right now.
Literally, there was several in stoppage time and then apparently several after the final whistle blew, which I'm just like, I don't know what that means. Do they have to sit out the next friendly? Like, who knows any of the rules anymore? There were over 55,000 people at this game, so shout out to them. You made the atmosphere very intense and very crazy.
More people got to see that live.
That was insane. I think this got like kind of brushed under the rug and all of this insanity, but Michelle Cooper was like right back out there.
Yeah.
So things were getting weird. There is literally so much to unpack. And so thank God we are joined by a good friend of the pod, Ali Riley. Ali, how are we going to do this?
I think I might charge you extra for this one, Sam, because wow, I'm exhausted. My heart is racing and we have a lot to unpack.
We have a lot to unpack. I know you actually may have won a bet with this result.
Surprisingly, so after game one on Time Wasting Pod with Kelly O'Hara, we make a bet each week. And I, for some reason, I think she's not doing so well with the bet. So I've been making it easy on her. So I gave her 3 goals or more, and I took 2 goals or less. So I lost the bet game one. Obviously it was 2-1 to Brazil. And I said, look, I'll take the same scoreline again, not thinking that this would happen. So sorry,
you guys should have done 3 or more red cards.
Actually, though, or 5 or more.
Yeah, literally. Okay, well, little shout out to your podcast, Time Wasting with Kelly O'Hara. We're glad to have you here with us tonight on the women's game, and we are going to react to this game with Ali. But before we dive into the details, I'll explain the show as I always do, just in case anybody here is here for the first time. This is a TWG Live, which means you, our listeners, are here with us live, and you get to call in and talk to us and ask us questions about the first red card, the second red card, the third red card, or the fourth red card.
Don't ask about that, please.
No, you can ask us questions about anything you want. You're just going to scan the QR code in the top left of your screen. It's going to take you into a Zoom with our producer who will get you set up to ask your question. It's just audio, so don't worry. You're not going to be on screen. We'll get to those questions a little bit later in the broadcast. Our producer, Sophie, will take care of you until then, but just get in line now. Make sure you get your question in. If you don't want to ask a question, just give us a like. Thank you so much. Okay. I see a lot of you in the chat. I see a lot of Sonnet is the GOAT chat. I see a lot of chat about Marta. I see a little shout out to Oprah saying you get a card and you get a card. Yes, that one is from Roxy. So I see you all in there. We are going to be reading your comments tonight. We are going to be engaging with your questions, and I can't wait to hear from all of you. Ali, I want to just start with this. Obviously, we lost the first game in this 2-game series of friendlies. As far as like rectifying our loss from Saturday, did we?
Well, literally, yes. Literally, yes. And we're going to break down the game chronologically, but I think overall the US can be so proud of the response, particularly matching the physicality, being prepared for, I don't know if anyone could have been prepared for what inevitably happened, but kept their calm when the ref, I think, started to lose control on this game. And then not the finishing that I think we were hoping for, considering some of those missed chances in game one. There were still a lot of missed chances in game two, but they got the win, and it was a wild atmosphere, and I think controlled. And again, it was about what's between the ears for Emma. And I think the players really showed that. You won't get a challenge like this until they potentially meet Brazil in the World Cup.
I think, to answer my own question, did we rectify the loss? Yeah, we won the game. We raised our level. This was so intense and so physical and just a crazy game, but we were there toe to toe every single step of the way. I was really proud of that response. I do want to try to bring our mindsets back to the beginning of the game. We see
yeah, try.
starting lineup for the first time. We're like, all right, everybody, we've got to win this game. We lost the first one. We see 6 changes from Saturday's loss, including Claudia Dickey in goal. The rest of the lineup was Avery Patterson, who's getting probably the most shouts in the chat right now for having such a standout game. Kennedy Wesley was also on the back line. She had an incredible game. Lily Johannes, Lily Heaps, Sophia Wilson, Emily Sonnet, Rose Lavelle, Michelle Cooper, Emma Sears, Emily Fox. Okay, so 6 changes. I want to start with Claudia Dickey, who I did not realize didn't play, well, perhaps didn't play in the first game because she had picked up a knock in training. She didn't dress that first game. Mandy McGlynn played. Claudia Dickey started today. She got the shutout. What did you make of this change? Do you think Claudia is making a claim for the number 1 spot? Do you feel confused about this? What's happening?
I'm a little bit stressed about this because this is so unusual to not have a number 1 this close to a major tournament. And when I was calling the game a couple of days ago, game 1, I actually asked our amazing researcher at TNT, Steve, for a stat. And the last time a number 1 goalkeeper, so Alyssa Nair, had 10 caps was in 2016. So it has been 10 years since there's been a goalkeeper, and no matter which of these goalkeepers she goes with, they will be so inexperienced compared to what the US has had for 10 years. And Claudia Dickey, I could imagine how frustrated it would have been when, with Fallon Joyce picking up this injury from World Sevens ahead of these matches, to then have this huge opportunity to then get a knock before game 1. So we know injuries, it's part of the game. It's high risk, high reward career, but I'm glad she recovered to play in this game. And she was calm. It was a different tactic in terms of going longer, being more direct, earning time and space. Sonnet was a huge part of that tactic, but I think, wow, what an experience. This could maybe count as 10 caps because I feel like I'm 10 caps older after that.
Same. I'm like, can you guys add 10 caps to my caps? Like,
yeah, add 10 to mine, please.
I lost 10 years off my life watching this game. Okay. Well, I think that it was a really important experience for both goalkeepers. I know that Emma has been kind of, telling the media to maybe stop asking about it so much. She wants to develop all the goalkeepers. She wants to go into a tournament with multiple options. I think she's been pretty consistent saying that throughout the lineup conversation in general. Like, I do think that there were maybe some changes today that were better suited to play a team like Brazil. Agreed. Whereas there could be a totally different lineup for a different style team. We're going to get more into that. I think the next thing I want to talk about is just this atmosphere in Brazil. We have already mentioned over 55,000 people at this stadium. The World Cup there next summer is going to be incredible, not only for Brazilian people to go and watch, but for people from all around the world to go and to experience this football culture. You and I have both played in Brazil. I know I was there as an alternate. You were actually there as an Olympian in 2016 with New Zealand. So I played in Brazil in a friendly previous to that. I think in like 2014, we actually lost. I remember the noise and intensity, even watching from the stands as an alternate at the Olympics. And we didn't even play against Brazil. That's the other crazy thing is like, it was crazy to be there just against you guys, like against the other teams. I want to know what you can say about your experience playing there, and then just take us forward into next summer a little bit. How intense and incredible do you think having a World Cup at a stadium like that with a crowd like that is going to be?
It is really wild to think that that was 10 years ago now, and to go there and be part of a culture that is so important to this game we love. That is one of the major reasons why we call it a beautiful game, and the home of Marta, the GOAT, and the food and the music. My parents, of course, had such a good time. They drank so many caipirinhas. And what was funny was we played against the US, and Hope Solo had made some comments before the tournament that Brazil wasn't happy about. So it felt like we were the home team. We lost, but we were the US was getting booed. We were getting cheered. So that was a very strange experience because for obvious reasons. But and we beat Colombia. It's one of our few wins at a major tournament. So shout out to the football ferns. But seeing the crowd today and in game one and knowing the investment that is going into the team, the national team, the young players coming up through the system. A lot of these players were part of successful programs, under 17, under 20 for Brazil, and also going into the domestic league, Palmeiras, what they're doing at that club. And to see the engagement, the attendance, I think this tournament is going to break so many records. There's just going to be amazing coverage all over the world. But to be there live, I mean, I'm already trying to book my ticket because I just think they're going to show out. And if this didn't fuel that even more, I don't know, because imagine what that will be like if these two teams meet in a knockout round.
Oh my gosh.
You have to be there, Sam.
I do not even know what to say to that. It is so exciting. Again, shout out to these Brazilian fans who made this atmosphere what it was.
Yeah.
Back to the beginning of the game, it started off really fast. And the thing I noticed, and, we kind of went into this being like, okay, well, if the US wants to, match the energy Brazil brought last game, this game is going to be fast. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be physical. And it was exactly that. The thing I really noticed beyond just like the physicality was like, I felt like I picked up on players on the US who you normally see keeping possession of the ball, sometimes playing backwards, especially at the beginning of a game when you're like, let's feel the other team out. Let's get a hold of the ball. Let's keep it. Let's complete our passes. Players like that. And the first players that pop into my head are like Lindsay and Lily. They were going forward immediately. And what that says to me is like the game plan was don't pass it backwards. You're inviting pressure. Yep. When you get the ball, the next thing you do is play it forward. And I think that was good. Like that was what the game required. What we were missing last game was I think we tried to retain our composure too much and it played into Brazil's advantage. But there was a moment in this game about 10 minutes in where I was like, oh, this isn't just a first 10 minutes thing. Like this immediately play the ball forward, whether you keep it or not. Super physical on both sides. We're battling. We're scrapping for 50-50 balls. Like we executed that game plan, but I just realized that was going to be the entire game. And that like, it was almost that like all the players had to suffer through it and we had to suffer through it because it wasn't beautiful football by any means, but it was like what was required from the US in order to get a result in this game.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm interested to hear your perspective as a very well-known and amazing midfielder with the decision to, obviously Rose's minutes were being managed, so she wouldn't have been able to play the entire match, both games. But I felt like to have Lindsay and Rose, you have more options when you do go forward. If you are going to establish possession higher up with players who are excited to be in the final third, can make things happen in the final third, are less conservative, like you're saying, will take more risks. And also that third player run can break up a little bit of that player oriented, that player marking, that style that Brazil likes to play, because it makes something unexpected. And Lindsay's so good at those runs, but I didn't see her being able to do that when she was the 10.
I feel like in the last game, I feel like that midfield combination didn't work that well. I also do think that Brazil played us, kind of marked us individually. And it does require more, I think, like diversity in the midfield of style of player. I think that the first game, the combination of Claire, Lily, Lindsay, they're all 6'8" types to me. Of course, Lindsay can play in the 10, but she's not the same profile of player as a Rose or even like a Jaden or sometimes I guess Olivia Moultrie too. It's like, I think you need that player that's going to mix up that marking and mix up the lines. I used to hear this complaint a lot about a 3 front, that sometimes you can get just very in your own vertical channels. And that would actually leave our 9 quite isolated if the 10 wasn't buzzing around her, creating chaos. It's predictable. And so I think that having 2 of the more conservative midfielders, which of course, we're still missing Sam Coffey in there, Claire or Lily are great options. Of course, I want Lindsay on the field, but then you really do need that dribbler profile, that 10, that creative flair player. And so I think today wasn't really the game for that. Like we have this stat coming later in the show, but like, it's not like we played an organized attack. Like it was not the game for Rose Lavelle to be getting on the ball and dribbling and like causing chaos. The game was chaos. And so
we didn't know that yet at the beginning. I'm talking about when I saw the starting lineup.
I know. But I did like that combination better. And then, I mean, I think that the other like really exciting changes that we noticed from the first game, when Avery Patterson and Michelle Cooper subbed in that first game, they made a huge difference. And I think they earned the starts today.
They did. And that's, you have an opportunity when you don't start. How are you going to react? Are you going to take a moment if you get subbed in to feel sorry for yourself? Or are you going to be so locked in during the minutes you're not playing that when you go in, you make an immediate impact? And both of those players have shown that. And of course, with Michelle Cooper then being so versatile to play in a different position, I think they're really making a strong case for themselves with Emma. But Avery and Emma Sears, I really like down that left-hand side.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Michelle Cooper playing right back did not get enough attention. I'm probably going to say it 5 more times today. Honestly, it really did. Today's game literally just required people to be like willing to get stuck in and battle and grapple with players and play aggressively. And
but
those
not
players,
lose,
not lose their cool. And those players like stepped up and did that. And they brought that edge to the game. I thought that was really good. There was one thing I wanted to talk about, and I just kind of noticed in the first half, and I think we were probably doing this in the first game as well. I just didn't pick up on it as clearly, but it was so clear to me today that Claudia, when instead of trying to build out of the back, Claudia was really trying to just say, okay, one of you needs to step to me. And when you create that space in behind you, I'm going to then like kind of launch it towards midfield, towards a player that is going to win the first ball. And then we're going to position ourselves to win the second ball. And there was a moment where I think I picked up on like, we're not really winning as many of these as I would expect us to. I think we are really well physically matched up against Brazil. Maybe they're taller, maybe they're stronger in some one-on-one cases. And it reminded me of something that Vlatko Andonovski actually taught me when I played on the national team for him about positioning on those second balls. And what he taught us was, if you're not going up for that first one, it's almost like a basketball philosophy of like you're boxing out and trying to get the rebound. You have to position. You don't just wait and see where the ball goes. You also don't just guess where it's going to go.
Yeah.
The ball is not going to go very far from that 50-50 battle. You can presume because it's a battle. So one of the players shouldn't get a huge 20, 30 yard header on that ball. It may just kind of hit off somebody's head or bounce around between them and drop 5 or 6 yards away from them. So if you just position yourself on the inside, literally boxing out the other person that is in your space, you'll be first to that ball. It sounds so obvious, but it reminded me of that today because I actually felt at times like maybe we weren't in the best positions, or just that to just kind of be reminded of those basics of positioning on a 50-50 ball.
Did you play basketball? I'm sorry, I don't know this about you.
I did. I played basketball like through my freshman year of high school, and then I had to stop because of soccer.
Yeah, of course. Well, also speaking of basketball, Emma called Sonnet a blocker, and she was like setting a pick on the US's goal kicks. Did you notice that?
I did notice that. Tell us more about what you saw, though.
So I think this idea, and it was a plan in game one, but Brazil was still able to put a lot of pressure on a center back. Again, if the US played backwards or on goal kicks, they press really well in a way to leave their player, but cut that player off as they press McGlynn in game one. And so in this game, there was even more of an effort, and Sonnet was sometimes she was also kind of player marking. She was setting this pick to make sure the 9 could not get this open press on Dickey. And that would give her more time. I mean, a little bit more space, because sometimes Sonnet, I think she got called for it once, or I don't remember who got the call, but like was physically pushing. It was Eugenia back to create not just time, but space. Yeah. And it's just, these are things that the US haven't really had to use before. And so I think, to your point, really a good reminder. Again, this is a very unique opponent, but when you aren't necessarily going to win first balls, and this could happen against a team that has taller players or just plays more direct, that to be really proactive in understanding where that ball might land and not reacting to it could be, again, a way that this team levels up.
Yeah. I mean, totally. I think that, it's a small criticism, something I picked up on somewhere in that first half when there was just so much, the ball was bouncing so much. There was so much like jostling for position, so much like it was so not about settling the ball and passing it around and creating high quality chances. It was just a different kind of game. And, we keep kind of coming back to the physicality of it because there just really isn't that much else to say.
I know.
There were a few chances. We're going to get to the goal. We're going to talk about like a few of the other things that happened. But I think that another thing I'd really like to hear from you, I know as a, I'm 6 feet tall. I was always one of the biggest players on the field. I know how I had to adjust to a team like Brazil. I had to win my 50-50 balls. I had to jump up and win the headers. I had to use my body to my advantage. I had to set picks. I had to, do all these things. Whereas when I was playing maybe a smaller, quicker, more possession-oriented team, I had to then try to use my body in a totally different way.
Yeah.
And sometimes I felt like the Jolly Green Giant running around out there with the ball going in between my legs every other step. I want to know
never happened.
The opposite of me, a smaller player, how you would have adjusted today. Like, what if you can't box out Bia Zanarata? What if you can't keep up? Even what if you couldn't keep up speed wise? Like, how would you deal with that against a team like this?
I think, well, again, this team, why Brazil is so good, and we have to give them a lot of credit, is because, well, they have players of all different heights and sizes on that team, and they're all so physical and strong. Eugenia is a player, I was speaking to Becky Tweed about her, who we know she's fast, we know she's technical, and scores top of the team in all her strength tests. So
wow.
I was a fast player and I was able to be physical, but I think what the challenge would be against a team like this is getting too close and thinking I need to be really physical here because they're physical, and then forgetting that they're also technical. So when you get too tight to someone, and we saw this happen a little bit more in game one, where you think I'm going for this and someone spins you, or you're so tight. And Sophia Wilson actually did this really, really well. She's not the tallest player, but she would use the defender's momentum against them. So the first few times, someone's draped all over her, pushing her. And then as the game wore on, she would use that hold in as she felt them press her so hard on her back, she would actually roll them. So again, that's not something I would be doing as a fullback, but I just think that is where also slowing your mind down, which was the challenge, which was what we didn't see in the final third from the US, especially game one, was that it's like a mile a minute, fast, you're getting pressed, you have to be physical, and then being able to be composed when you're on the ball, realizing when you actually do have time. So even though this is a physical battle, it's also mental as well. That's why I keep going back to one team, one coaching staff really lost their cool, and they were playing the same game. The other team, who was getting fouled more, was able to stay calm. So it's always the game. Football, people notice how much we run, but you have to think and you have to be really, really calm. So that for me is the biggest asset when you're playing a team like Brazil. If you can do that.
Yeah. I mean, really, really great points. I do credit our team for keeping their cool. I think and look, it's not to say we weren't giving it back to Brazil. I mean, I noted a couple of our own tactical fouls.
Yep.
That I actually wrote down as improvements on last game because I felt,
for sure.
And I said on this show last game that I thought on one of those goals that we should have committed a tactical foul at midfield. Rose literally did almost an identical situation. She literally did that today. And not only do I think that it's necessary, especially in a game like today, to be fouling back and even getting yellow cards like back, you have to defend yourself. You have to defend your team. Like it is going both ways, I think, up until the very end of the game.
Yeah.
I think it was doing it in a kind of a controlled way.
Yes.
I think Rose's was.
Yep.
was an important example to set. It's like, yes, I got this yellow. I understand I'm getting this yellow. I'm not getting it out of emotion. I'm not getting it out of something dirty. I
Yeah.
got it and I accept it. And I think it was like almost a good growth moment from last game. And of course, I mean, I love that it was Rose, who is such an experienced veteran leader on this team, who can kind of demonstrate how to do that.
I agree. And that could have been the difference between conceding and not. And I also noticed early on, Michelle Cooper was so, back when she was not playing right back, because we're going to keep mentioning that, was when Brazil is still in their half, but around halfway, and the player was facing backwards. And instead of dropping off, letting them turn, potentially finding some clipped ball or diagonal ball right on her heels, nipping at her, got called for the foul, and immediately Lindsay Heaps goes and they smile and do a high five. It was that gives you this feeling like this is intentional, it is under control, and it's in a good location on the pitch. And we set up and defend, which they usually go direct off there.
And it was part of their game plan. I mean, nothing we did today, I think, didn't, sorry, let me rephrase that. I don't think anything we did today crossed the line into inappropriate fouling. I think a foul like that is part of your game plan. Be annoying, be physical, give it right back to them. I think what I will say that I didn't like, just in general, from the whole game, it bordered on like
rugby
players. Yeah, literally. But it just bordered on like the players being overextended to an extent. And I'm going to try to explain what I mean by that. I felt uncomfortable, for example, when Eugenia got hurt. Neither player did anything wrong. I don't even know if there was a foul to be called for that injury. But it just felt like the energy of the game was bordering on uncontrollable. Yes, the crowd. The ref, did our best. I think that there was just a lot of energy. There's awkward pushing and shoving. You can't settle the ball down. Both sides are desperate to win the ball. And I'm not saying it's not like we can play less intensely, but I just think that it just teetered on unsafe. And
isn't that the responsibility of the ref, Sam?
I think so. It's just that in this situation, I don't even think that when Eugenia got hurt, I don't think there was a foul.
But not that specific moment.
When the energy is teetering on unsafe, the ref needs to rein it in sooner. Is that?
Yes. You're talking about a couple of things here. Obviously, we know and we're hoping, obviously, that Eugenia is okay. And I can see your fans here are and listeners are so engaged. And a Wave fan has commented, obviously, we're all hoping that she's okay. And we know that injuries and non-contact injuries can happen in any condition. They can happen when you're crossing the street. So that specific incident, we don't know what it is yet. We're not going to speculate. And watching it in slow motion, it was really like, they bump each other. She kind of steps over Sonnet and we don't know what happened. But in terms of how out of control the game got, I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but as players, you're going to match each other and it's going to go up, 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 up. The crowd is so loud and and the coaches are so into it. So I always lean on Christina Uncle, my favorite referee, but maybe there are things that should have been done sooner or differently to assert some kind of look. If you're this physical, if this starts happening, it's done. It's done now. I don't know.
I think that's totally fair. I think, like I said, the energy was just so elevated. Of course, we really hope Eugenia's okay. I think that when you see a player emotional like that and in pain and coming off on a stretcher and then on crutches on the bench, my heart broke knowing, and we don't know what it is. I hope that she is okay. I can't help but just go, what if it is not good? And the World Cup is a year away. And it feels like one of those moments that everybody would just be like, wow, I wish that game had been more under control. And I was wondering if you could speak to, especially because you know what it's like hosting a World Cup, the anxiety that comes with playing in the months leading up to a major tournament and the desperation to not get hurt.
Yeah, I felt so much anxiety leading up to 2023. I was dealing with some really bad Achilles issues. I was sleeping with ice packs on both heels in a splint on both. Like I looked like a these are how my feet were when I when I slept because I was having so much pain and I would have to go out to games the warm up 15 minutes before everybody else just to get through Angel City games, and you're balancing wanting to give everything for your club. This is my home club. And then how lucky am I to be also part of captaining at a home World Cup? And as it got closer, and you know that time when we think of what we typically think of as the injury you don't want to get, you start counting.
Yeah.
How many months? How many months would it be? And when you start, I'm getting goosebumps. When you cross that time, yeah, I felt a lot of pressure and I felt sick and my mental health was definitely declining. And I am so grateful for the sports psychologists that I worked with because I really, really needed help. And it was hard to be vulnerable because, again, I couldn't ever sacrifice performing for my club. And so to balance that and give everything and be aggressive, go into tackles, put my body on the line every single week, every day at training, knowing that it was going to be the biggest moment of my entire career, something that is once in a lifetime. You have no control if your country is able to bid and win a bid for a home World Cup. So again, I think it was really, really important that I asked for help and got the support I needed. And I, again, am very, very lucky that I was able to give my best to both of my teams that meant so much to me.
Yeah, I know. Feel similarly. I remember specifically before the 2021 Olympics, I was injured. And so I was just like, I'll go limper. I mean, I'll have to just do my best. But before 2019, I remember like tiptoeing around. Even I actually got in like a car accident like a few months before. And I remember just being like, oh my God, it was like minor, but I was just like, oh my God, like everything you do feels so precious and like it could all go away in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. And that's so hard because we're human beings. Like we
I
have
know.
to live. And yeah, again, I got so much support and went through so many exercises about like, what are you afraid of and what's the worst that can happen? And like made me also so grateful for everything I had and the opportunity I had and what you can control and what you can't control. And I do want to add one thing before we go back to the game, that what my psychologist taught me was that you can't pretend to not be thinking about things. Our brains are so smart. So trying not to think about something or trying to pretend or ignore something is not the way to go. It's accepting it, letting it sit there and say like, okay, brain, like I hear you and we're going to go to training and we're going to kill it tomorrow. So that was something that really, really helped me because I was trying to say like, I'm not thinking about it. It's not there. The fear is not there. And your brain knows, your body knows, you start to manifest it. My hair was falling out. And I had to, and then I had to really just be like, okay, like it's there. We're okay. And we do what we know how to do, what we've done our whole life.
Yeah. I mean, again, that was amazing. And thank you for sharing. This whole conversation did start because we were talking about Eugenia's injury.
Yes.
We will wrap up and say we hope she's okay. We hope to hear good news out of her camp soon. I want to wrap up the first half, which again, I mean, just like the game, this is going on forever. There were a few like focal points. I wouldn't say there was crazy chances at either end. Haas did score a header for Brazil. It was called offside. I noticed that Lindsay and Lily were both on the ground. They got right up and stepped the line, and had either of them stayed on the ground for longer than a second, that goal might have been onside. We had maybe a couple chances of our own. Our attack was very quick, very vertical, very direct. There was an early chance that went straight from Lily through to Michelle Cooper. She had a great chance on goal. A little bit later, Sophia Wilson had a near goal. That was the one that so Emma Sears brought the ball central and had her own shot saved by Lorena. And then Soph did have this kind of impossibly bouncing ball. She kind of took her time with it. And
Lorena was back.
And Lorena was when Lorena's hand snatched that off the ground.
Right.
The finish could have been better, obviously, but I was just shocked that got saved. That was such a great save.
My arm would be back there in the net with the ball, and my body would still be standing right here because of that kind of strength. Yeah, Lorena was so impressive. Again, makes me very I maybe concerned for the rest of the world that Lorena didn't even start the first game.
I know.
And and you have the goalkeeper, and she is in so much pain. They're strapping up her hamstring, and she just kept going. And I'm like, wow, they don't want to put Lorena in. And then she came in, did well, and then of course was outstanding this game. But wow, to have those two options.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Lucky.
And look, I mean, I am excited to continue learning more about these goalkeepers on our end of the field, but it does seem like Brazil has these two great options that are, we know Lorena and how good and how experienced she is. So it seems like that is a plus in the plus column for them. Taking us into halftime, I guess my question is like, do you go, okay, good job, everybody, let's keep exactly this up? Or are you trying to be like, I think we have to tone it back, but you kind of can't tone it back?
Not when you know what Brazil is going to do. So I would love to know what was said at halftime in both of those changing rooms. I do want to make another point about a difference I saw with the US, and you talked about it a little bit with the two players popping right back up. Being proactive, not reactive. And also it just felt like there was a bit of like the players were more switched on. And I think Sonnet, and I'm seeing a lot of props to Sonnet, Saucy Sonnet being amazing, Sonnet the GOAT here, because she was just looking. You see that bun, right? Going boom, 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 pointing. And this was the first time, again, a new back four starting together. So there is not a comfort level in knowing each other really well and having played with the same back four. The back four that started the last game was the first time they had started a game together. And that's where I think Sonnet took the responsibility to lead, to learn from what happened in game one and be just on it. Every time the ball went out of play, and Emma says the ball is going to be out of play a lot. Every time it was out, she's pointing, sprinting back, looking, always sprinting. And that there is conversation, there is debate about who, if everyone is healthy, the starting center back pairing would be. And I know a lot of people, for good reason, would love the combination of Tierna and Naomi. But when I watch Emily Sonnet play and lead like she did, how do you take her off the field? So that was just my little side note.
Sonnet's probably my first.
I knew you would agree.
And I know that people are like, "Shut up, Sam. She's your friend, and you'll always pick her."
She's not my friend.
I just am like, I'm not until I am wrong. Like, I genuinely, everything you said, I agree with, and Sonnet has been doing that. She just hasn't always been in this position to be starting and playing 90 minutes in games like this. She always does that. That is exactly what we'll get from her. And I trust her so much. I think her energy raises the level of this team. Everybody knows I love Sonnet. I do see the funniest comment. I think it says from Kiki Kate. Sorry, you guys, the names are so small I can barely see them, but it says Emily Butt on a Swivel Sonnet. And I need that on a t-shirt. I think that's so good. You can
just see it fluffing around, and it gets fluffier and fluffier.
It's just so good. Obviously, we love Sonnet here. We did make a few
coming out.
We did make a few subs at halftime. Trinity Rodman came in for Emily Fox. You're like, what? Don't worry. Michelle Cooper is going to play right back.
Don't worry. She can do it all.
It's all good. Early in the second half, yes, the pace of this game is staying fast. Counterattack. There was this one opportunity. I mean, a few opportunities that I noticed. Kennedy Wesley just
let's talk about
didn't fold under pressure. There was that I think she must have headed it backwards, and then she got fouled, and they kept showing the replay, and I'm like, she's fast. She's recovering on defense. Like, again, we weren't really playing out of the back. I didn't really see her ability to pass forwards. But I think what I learned about Kennedy Wesley tonight is she's newer into camp.
Yeah.
I don't watch every single San Diego Wave game. I know she's good, but a lot of players are good, and that's why they get called into camp. And I didn't know before tonight if she was like, yes, I'm here. I'm a permanent part of this roster. Now I'm like, she's a permanent part of the roster. Like, if you survived tonight and you did well, I'm like, that says so much about you.
So much. And I was on this show with you when we pointed out she made a couple of mistakes. This was months ago now,
Yeah.
and she is a fast learner. And I watch a lot of those San Diego games, and she is very consistent. And again, she wasn't tested in possession, but I think where sometimes maybe the blindside run or just, checking, knowing where if she's in the right position, where everyone needs to be, countermeasures, those type of things. So good tonight.
Yeah.
So good. And I think, again, going back to Sonnet, bun on a swivel Sonnet, I think you saw comfort with those two together. But
Yeah.
yes, I also really like when Ludmila came in, and this is a really fast forward of a player that Brazil wants to be able to rely on to score goals, make things happen. And you could see that Kennedy, this is her teammate, and she really, really was smart in kind of waiting in some moments, being aggressive, matching the pace, but leaving it when she had to, and won so many calls, won goal kicks, like was so good. And that was a weapon that Brazil wanted to bring on to make something happen at the end. And Kennedy Wesley was like, I got this.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I think she was really impressive. And I think, to my own point about it's not like we were building this game. San Diego Wave plays some of the best soccer in the league, some of the most beautiful possession building soccer. So of course she is capable and can do a wonderful job of that. I do see your comments. I will watch more games. Sometimes they're on at 10 p.m. on the East Coast. And
there are a lot of games.
And there are a lot of games, everybody, but I'm doing my best out here. I want to talk about the goal. There were a few more subs. Olivia Moultrie came on, and Claire Hutton came on, and we immediately got our goal. Sophia Wilson, in this moment, Ali, was not expecting a goal. Sophia Wilson is back to goal, out on the sideline, 40 yards out. Haas is all over her, holding her arm. I think the ref could have called a foul 6 times on this play. Doesn't call it. Soph escapes, dribbles
very well,
gets a shot off. It does have a big deflection, and the goal, actually, I believe they said on the broadcast that it got changed to an own goal. I resent that, because shooter's going to shoot. You can't score a goal if you don't shoot, and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I can keep going. I think it's Soap's goal. But we went up 1-0, and it ends up being the total difference in this game. The only difference in this game.
And you could just see the look of dismay and disbelief on the Brazilian players' faces in slow motion in the replay, because you're going through all that. It's even, wilder in hindsight after what happened in the game, that was the goal. But again, if there was one player that I was comfortable with holding the ball for a long time in the same space, because that was an issue in game 1, but she also did it well in game 1, it was Sophia Wilson. And I think it is safe to say that this woman is on a roll. So whoever is playing Portland at the beginning of when the season comes back, look out.
Yeah, Soph is ready. She has been solid, ever since she's been back. She's been so great. I think that, the game kind of devolved sometime around here.
Yes.
There was this one play I wanted to mention when Olivia Moultrie hit the post. What I noticed on this play was that Olivia Moultrie and Trin were sprinting to get into the box. And I think that Brazil we had already scored our goal. I think Brazil was kind of like, I noticed their defenders maybe were not max sprinting. I think Angelina was, but I noticed a few, and I'm like, was that really as fast as you could be running? Maybe they were a bit tired, and maybe that's a reflection of our depth. And like Trin and Olivia can sub in and raise the level, and they are both so good, and they can be full sprinting in the 80th minute of a really difficult and physically grueling game. I can say that confidently about us and our bench.
Yeah.
It ended up hitting the post, which was a bummer. I do want to shout out the chat though. Chat, last game, you guys were like, why didn't we see Olivia Moultrie? Olivia Moultrie would be so good in this game. She did have this great opportunity where she almost scored a goal. It went off the post. And I think you all if you didn't manifest it, at least you just know, and you basically made it come true. So love you guys.
Yeah, and I get it. I think that's a player when I was talking about the mentality and being able to stay cool and have composure and kind of slow your mind down in the moments when you need to in the attacking third. That's exactly who Olivia Moultrie is.
Yeah.
Her vision, it's like everything is in slow motion, and that finish, I mean, what a cool, like, it hit the post, but it's like to take that just kind of, she's one of few players who does things like that for me consistently, to just do that little shot, a little off pace.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been a very sexy goal. And it's just a little bit unexpected. Again, the off pace. And that's something she's so good at, but that's something very, very hard to teach. Obviously she learned it. It's not, you're not born with it, but if you don't have it at a certain point, like, that's not something I would have just suddenly been able to get in my 30s. Like, that is a very, very impressive skill.
Yeah, agreed. Olivia, in some ways, and I do think that I can say this with confidence because she did come through a very pivotal time in her career playing for the Portland Thorns with Lindsay Heaps. But she reminds me of Lindsay in some ways. That little bit of unexpected skill, that little bit of
I just keep
outside
picturing
of the
that shot. Yeah.
I think and I mean that is obviously such a compliment because I'm a huge fan of both of them. We did see Marta sub on for Brazil with about 10 minutes left. So obviously Brazil has some depth of their own. Did you see that little boy on screen?
Yes.
Absolutely losing his mind. I literally was like, why are they showing a video through the window of my living room of
you? It's like, why is that how I look right now?
So excited about Marta coming on the field. Foudy did say that Marta will be 41 during the World Cup next summer. And I was like, okay, perfect. Marta will be in her prime next summer.
Great.
Glad to hear it.
Age ain't nothing but a number. Yeah. Like, just think about what she did in the playoffs when Orlando knocked out Seattle. Like, that can happen at any time. We just want her to stay healthy. Has had a little bit of a start-stop season for Orlando, but I mean, the impact, even if she's not playing, we know what she's doing for any team.
Last game, she wasn't dressed, and I was still just like, it doesn't matter.
I could feel her aura.
I know.
From Los Angeles. Actually, it was in Atlanta.
She really is the GOAT. She was getting into it at the
end.
With our players.
We do need to mention.
And we are almost at your calls. So if you're not already in there, go ahead and scan that QR code. Get in there.
Get ready.
There. We have to mention the end of the game. Multiple cards to Brazil's bench. I've been seeing in the chat 10 yellows, 8 reds. I don't even know. Honestly, know, you guys.
I think it might have been.
I didn't.
I'm gonna do a little cheeky check right here.
Then there was some reds on the field in stoppage time. Bia Zanerato got her second yellow. Tarsian elbowed Sophia Wilson in the face. I didn't really like that. The game was just very chaotic. It got out of hand at the end. It got that edge back at the end, and it was a lot. So I think I was thinking of a way we could tell the story of what this game was like. Let's say you go to work tomorrow and somebody's like, how was the game? How would you tell them what this game was? Because there was very little soccer played. I don't mean that as an insult to either team. This just was not either team's best soccer game. The game was about something else. And so we looked at the number of passes completed. Obviously, we have to compare that to something because that a number on its own, what does that even mean?
Gosh.
Last camp, when the U.S. women's national team, played against Japan, we played them 3 times. Those games would have completed passes in the 700 or 800s between both teams. Today against Brazil, both teams put together completed 165 passes. So the game was not just, the ball wasn't on the ground. Neither team was passing. Attacks, when they existed, were very direct, but it was just a different kind of game. I don't think this is a huge takeaway for anybody's, ability to play a different style of game. I think Brazil could certainly play a beautiful pass on the ground. Like, they have such incredible technical skilled players. I think they are leaning more into this high press, go direct. And there is certainly a time and a place for that. And they are very good at it. I think for us against different types of opponents, we'll play different types of ways. My takeaway from today is that we proved we can play this way. We can match up against Brazil. Game 1, I was like, we did not match up well. The pressure got to us, the physicality got to us. We did not play our best. Today, I'm like, yeah, if we have to do that, we've got to do it, and we can get the result. But just the passing and just the lack of actual soccer, I think, was like a striking statistic to mention.
Yeah, as you're speaking, I think an interesting challenge for the US national team moving forward will be how quickly can you switch then to effectively play against each style of opponent? Because what you're getting from playing a team multiple times is you're getting multiple chances to put on your best performance against them, right? So with Japan, there were wins and there was a loss. Against Brazil, now a loss and a win. But come the World Cup, and now they'll go into qualifiers, and there are potentially teams who have similar style of play. Come the World Cup, depending on who's in that group stage, who they meet, pretty sure they're going to make the knockout rounds. You can't wait a game. You have to, if you want to win your group and then you get to the knockout, you cannot take 90 minutes to then adapt. So that might be, again, I'm not a coach, but that could eventually will have to be, I think, the next phase of Emma, and in Emma we trust, in terms of her lessons and her inspiration. And I think we're seeing how effective she is. We're privy to a lot of what she says. We're very lucky to have that access, and she's so good with the media. She talks a lot about her tactics and her intentions, but that's only a fraction of what she's saying. And we see the response. We see how the players listen and take everything she says on board. But again, it will have to be faster. It'll have to be at halftime. It will have to be at a water break.
Right.
It can't be after one entire match.
Right. I mean, totally. And we're talking group stage, but then it's like the scariest part about a World Cup is as soon as you get into the knockout round, you could be 90 minutes away from going home, from literally packing your suitcase and getting on a plane. In my first major world tournament, when I realized that, it was like I had never experienced that before in my life. And of course I have. Like, I have played knockout games in my life before, but doing it at the World Cup, I was like, you mean there's no second chance? There's no second chance.
And so the team expected to win the World Cup after winning the Olympics and winning many World Cups before. Like that's the option. And I think Brazil is a team that is hoping to have that same expectation. I think they have it for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would put Brazil as one of the favorites after this week. I think Brazil is going to be really hard for teams to beat, especially teams that are used to playing a more composed, controlled possession style. They're going to be under so much pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody. I'm so excited to hear from you.
We did it, fam. We did it. Support group.
Yes, support group. Call us and tell us how you're feeling. If you want to join us here live on YouTube, scan the QR code in the top left of your screen. You're going to go into Zoom with our producer, Sophie, who will tell you everything you need to know. If you don't want to come on, just please give us a like, or, share this show with somebody that you think might like it. It actually is really, really helpful, and I would really appreciate it. Okay. When I call your name, remember to take yourself off mute and tell us where you're from, and then ask your question. Up first, we have our trusty Avery. Avery, how's it going tonight?
Good. I'm tired and just glad it's over.
Same.
Preach, Avery. Ask us your question, and then we'll all go to bed.
My question is, since we didn't see the actual stoppage time, which I think it just took them too long to calculate.
Yes.
Personally, I
thought it was just
glad it ended.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can all agree. When I think we had one last free kick at the end or something, and I was like, can we just not?
Yeah.
Like, I have to go. Like, I can't be doing this emotional roller coaster anymore. It was crazy.
What do you think it should have been if we actually saw the stoppage time? And when Soph was down, what do you think Marta and Lindsay were arguing about?
What do I think the stoppage time? Look, when there was a moment, like maybe the stoppage time was probably at 9. We were probably at 99 minutes. And I was like, the ref should just call it. Like, everybody was arguing. It was probably this moment. It was when Tarsier got a red card because she elbowed Soph. Marta and Lindsay were arguing. And I was just like, I don't know if the game is going to get back to being a game. I don't know if this should continue. It just feels too elevated. I think that to me, what I imagine is that Marta was saying that either we were fouling them back or we were diving or we were and Lindsay was just saying, no, we're not. It's going both ways. Tarsian elbowed her in the face. Like, I think in the heat of the moment, you are just defending your teammates and you are saying that it is unfair. And I felt kind of bad for Lindsay. Like, Lindsay was defending her teammates, but I was like, I don't want Marta to be like mad at me.
I needed the ref cam in this game.
Right?
And to learn Portuguese. A ref cam with subtitles would have really made this a little bit more maybe digestible.
Yeah. It was a really interesting game. Avery, thank you so much for calling in and asking.
Thanks, Avery.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Okay. Good night.
Yep.
Good night.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Avery. Up next, we have Steph. Steph, can you take yourself off mute and tell us where you're from?
Hi, Sam and Ali. My name is Steph, and I'm from Massachusetts.
Is this Steph McCaffrey?
No. I wish.
Oh my God, is it actually not?
No.
Oh my God, you kind of sound just like her, unless I'm.
Oh. I mean, I could pretend, but no.
Wow. Wishful thinking. But Steph, I'm so happy to hear from you. Where in Massachusetts are you from without getting too specific in like a creepy way?
No, you're fine. I'm from Mansfield, which isn't too far from Hanson.
Oh yeah. It really isn't too far from Hanson. Okay, Steph, I have been sufficiently creepy enough about you sounding like my friend and asking what town you're from. What's your question for us?
So the whole time I was watching the game, I was just thinking about what players I would have loved to see out there. So my question is, if you could pick one U.S. women's national team in all of the history of the team to be out there for their physical and mental strength, who would it have been?
Good question. I mean, I think one of my obvious first choices is Julie Ertz. I think
that was exactly what I said.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a really common answer. I think she just brings an intensity level, a willingness to get stuck in. I would also have loved to have Sam Coffey there tonight. I know I could pick from anybody. I would have loved to have Sam Coffey there tonight. I think that just would have been a game changer for us right now. Ali, who comes to mind for you?
For the lore, if we cast our minds back to 2011, Abby Wambach.
Oh, such a good one.
Whew.
Such a good one.
Those were my two, actually. I had those two and then Crystal Dunn as well.
Yeah. I see angry Alex Morgan in the chat. That's a good one. I see Carly Wood and Kelly O'Hara in the chat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A lot of players have been part of a very intense knockout game against Brazil. We're looking at the U.S. national team.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. If I could play one more game with that 2019 World Cup team, man, I think that's exactly what I would do. Okay, Steph, thank you so much for calling in. I think it's just late here. And I was like, is this my friend?
You are now our friend.
Massachusetts pride.
How fun. Okay, Steph, thank you so much for calling. Okay,
have a good night.
You too. We have time for one, maybe two more, depending. Mary Beth, can you take yourself off mute and tell us where you're from? Hi, Mary Beth.
Mary Beth.
Oh, Mary Beth. Okay. Mary Beth, if you can hear me, I'll try you again after the next question. Okay, we are going to go with Joshua. Joshua, can you take yourself off mute? Oh no.
Everyone's exhausted.
Did people fall asleep?
Exhausted from that.
Okay.
Where are my West Coasters at?
I know. Okay, let's try one or two more. Maddie, are you there? Can you take yourself off mute?
I am here.
Hi. Is this Maddie?
Yes, it is.
Thank God, Maddie. I thought we got abandoned on here.
I try my best. I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm a Gotham fan.
I love to hear that. That is incredible. I've always wanted to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I've never been.
Me too.
It's beautiful. It's high desert. It's very artsy. I mean, and lots of hiking. I feel like you both would love that.
Yes. Will you
Yeah.
host us
Yeah.
sometime?
Of course.
Okay.
Maddie, thank you so much for calling. What's your question for us?
Yeah, I have two. Are you looking for a goalkeeper question or a field player question?
You pick.
Well, I mean, I think both of them. So I guess my first one is that, like, in like recent memory, Anne Katzenberger, Hannah Hampton, and Lorena have sort of been like recognized as the best goalkeepers in the world. And we're sort of in a goalkeeper purgatory. So, what do you think, and who do you think has proven themselves, and what do they need to do to cement themselves as such a good goalkeeper?
It's a really great question. Allie, do you want to try first?
So I am curious what Sam thinks about this because we know what Emma is saying, but do we really think that Emma is going to rotate goalkeepers at a World Cup? I know there was a little bit of like alluding to like, you play this winger in this game. Like, you know, it might be a Michelle Cooper here, it might be Alyssa Thompson there, but have we ever seen that in the goalkeeper position? So for me, and this is just based on not knowing anything about goalkeeping, but just a little bit tradition, but also as a defender, what has made me most comfortable playing with the goalkeeper behind me is reps. So all of these goalkeepers, particularly Fallon Tullis-Joyce, Claudia Dickey, and Mandy McGlynn, have shown that they are very, very good goalkeepers and they make incredible saves. And I think they have what it takes. They will have more of what it takes the more games they play. So I would like to see, just as Ali Riley, totally unbiased third-party fan here, a goalkeeper start to play game after game after game for the US. That's all I have to say on the matter.
I agree, and I think it would have been Claudia had she not got that knock early on in camp. For whatever signs I'm reading that are, you know, the same as everybody else, I think it is Claudia. I feel like, to Emma's point, anybody could get injured at any time. Knock on wood. We hope that you have your choice of every single player that you want to have on the roster. We hope everybody's healthy all the time. That is, you know, could not be the case. So I do think that developing a number two who could go in reasonably and not have everybody be like quaking about it, would be great. I think my question, and in a weird way, I have a lot of things to say. In a weird way, I'm gonna bring Ashley Sanchez into this because I am like, Mandy McGlynn has been so good for her club team. I think it's been harder for Claudia Dickey because Seattle isn't doing well. Does that matter? Does it not matter? Does club play at this point a year out matter at all? Or should you just look at how people perform with the national team? If you answer it that club play does matter, then Mandy McGlynn, I guess, would be playing and Ashley Sanchez would be called into camp. Do you know what I mean? So, but if you answer that it doesn't matter, then I think it's Claudia. And I think, again, it is Claudia. I think she was just injured for the first game. So, you know, this is now throwing a wrench into what could have been. We wouldn't have even been asking this question at all. I think my other thing that I want to bring up is that Emma keeps bringing up Jordan Silkowitz, like unprompted.
Yes.
Unprovoked. In press conferences, she keeps saying, well, Jordan Silkowitz is doing so great and she's with the 23s and that's so valuable. And she shouldn't come into this camp because she's not going to get any reps and she actually needs to get reps in order to develop. I also want to shout out Jane Campbell, who has been around the block so many times, has kind of been, right now at least, pigeonholed into this number 3 position. But come World Cup, if Jane Campbell was going as the number 3, I'd be like, great. I would trust her to be there and to be a good teammate and to be a part of it. And if it ever got to that point, Jane has enough experience to step in. That feels, in some ways, safer. Jane has been in the most camps. So this answer was all over the place. I have no idea if I said anything at all. I would say right now, I think it's Claudia. I think it will be Claudia, Fallon, Mandy. And
I
I'm trying to figure out if club play matters.
I would also say it's Claudia, but your answer also sort of like made me feel normal that I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this.
You're like, this girl is just rambling.
I want to add that Stu was Emma's assistant at Chelsea and now with the national team as a goalkeeper coach. And again, this is a position very, very different from being a field player. And he would be someone watching all these goalkeepers in the league very, very closely. And he coached Ann-Katrin Berger, and like he knows what it takes. And so I could imagine that he also will have a large role in knowing what this combination is alongside Emma and the leaders of the team who know when they feel at their best and most comfortable. But they have someone very experienced, very, very good who will have hawk eyes on the situation.
Yeah, totally. It's something we're talking about a lot around here that we are not really sure what to make of, Maddie. So we're all in the same boat and you're not crazy.
Not at all.
Maddie, I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you so much. We are running short on time. Otherwise, I'd have you ask your other one, but call us
You
back.
picked a good one.
Okay, thank you.
All good, but thank you.
Yeah, and you can call the Sammy Banana phone anytime, 855-611-4050. Call us and ask us a question on there, and we'll answer it on one of our podcasts.
I better write that down.
Yeah, write it down, please. Okay, I'm going to just quickly check back in, make sure Mary Beth and Joshua are not here. Mary Beth, are you there? Joshua, are you there?
Bueller.
Okay, you guys. Well, thanks anyway. We do need to move on. I'm really sorry. I know there's some more people in the chat. We just don't have time and it is getting really late, but thank you all so much for calling in. We will be back very soon. And I really appreciate you all taking the time. We literally could not make this show without you. So thank you so much. Allie, 2 quick things. And then it is time for all of us to go to sleep. Well, I don't know about you over there on the West Coast. I don't know what to do.
It's bedtime.
The first is something that I know you've been going through personally, and I wanted to know if you would like to share an update on whatever you're comfortable sharing with us about your journey.
I appreciate that, Sam. And yes, I have been going through a very challenging IVF journey, and I've shared a bit of it on time wasting and on my channels. And I really want to say, Sam, thank you. She didn't set me up to thank her, but thank you for checking in on me and being really supportive during this time. Like, it really shows the type of person you are, and also to share your platform for this. Because a couple weeks ago, Lucas and I found out that I lost a pregnancy at 7 weeks, and it was having a miscarriage is already such a physically and emotionally painful experience. But on top of that, to feel alone because nobody is talking about it. And the reality is 1 in 4 to 1 in 5 pregnancies end in miscarriage. So we're not alone when we go through something like this, but there is a stigma. It feels taboo to talk about it. And I really, really want to break that silence, because talking and sharing and asking for support is so important for mental health and for healing. And when I finally started telling people who are important to me and who I know care about me what I was going through, it helped me so much. And so I just really wanted to, I share a lot of my life, and I try to be really vulnerable, and I committed to this a long time ago because we do have a platform, and if anything I share can help even one person not feel alone, then it's totally worth it, because my greatest hope is that no one feels like they're going through life alone, because we're not. And so I know I was a little bit apprehensive to tell people, because it's not a fun thing to share. And sometimes you might be worried, like, you're going to make someone uncomfortable. And we're kind of made to feel that, I think, by society, or that people might not know what to say. But I can say with 100% honesty that when I told someone who had kids and didn't have a miscarriage, and or friends who weren't thinking about babies yet, and they would say, I'm sorry, and I'm here for you, and if you need anything, let me know, and I love you. And that was perfect. And for the friends who are currently going through something similar and trying, it was, we're in this together. And the women I know and who have reached out, who have had miscarriages and now have children, they gave me so much hope. So everyone had the perfect response, and everyone was just happy that they could support me when I needed them. And they would have been able to do that if I didn't tell them. So again, I just really wanted to break the silence. And I appreciate you, Sam, so much for allowing me to do that on your platform.
Oh my gosh, Ali. Well, thank you for your vulnerability. I think that first, I'm so sorry that you went through that.
Thank you.
And I want you to have what it is that you want. I know that someday you will be such an incredible mother. And I can't imagine how hard this is for you. This whole journey, I do think, is not talked about very much. Being close to some people who have been through that, it's something I feel very strongly that as women, we should all be sharing in more. And so I, of course, was honored to have you share this with some of our listeners here tonight, and honored to be, kind of on the inside with you and able to support you in a very small way from across the country. So I am here for you. And thank you so much for your vulnerability and sharing. I know the chat loves you too. The chat's here for you too. My very last question for you, Ali, and this is gonna, be a little bit of a change of tone. I need to ask you about Tim Payne, the viral New Zealand soccer star that went from having very few followers on Instagram to, thanks to, I think, a YouTube star, now has over 5 million Instagram followers. His life has changed overnight. He's from New Zealand. He's playing in the World Cup. Tell us what you know.
Oh my gosh, Sam, I'm so glad we could end on this note, because I think he's at 5.5 and
I followed him.
So me too. I don't know him, and I hope one day I'm cool and famous enough to meet him. I will be watching their opening game here in Los Angeles. I'm so excited. The whole family's going. We have friends coming. We're going to be in the supporter section. Yes, I will document it. Don't worry.
Okay.
But this is where it's obviously gotten so crazy now, and I hope he's not feeling too much pressure. I hope he's just feeling all the love. But this is where, just like the conversation we just had, social media can be so powerful. It can be used for evil, I think, but in this case, just a absolutely lovely and funny, and just what a surreal moment for anyone who's from New Zealand. This is the biggest thing that's happened to New Zealand maybe since the Lord of the Rings. This might be like more, because he has more followers than the country of New Zealand. He has more followers than like all of our famous celebrities and actors and singers. And go Tim Payne. He's the GOAT. He has songs written about him now. And I think we have all of South America cheering for New Zealand now. So maybe we will surprise some people in this tournament.
Hey, I'm here for it. I am definitely here for it. If you haven't heard this Tim Payne story, you need to look it up. It's incredible. And follow him on Instagram along with literally everybody else.
Along with everyone else.
Okay, everybody, this has been so fun. I love hanging out with you all. I love that the US Women's National Team won their game. We are going to see everybody for Good Vibes on Thursday. And I think the cat's out of the bag. The guest co-host for Good Vibes on Thursday is Christy Mewis. So prepare yourself for a little bit of the Muniverse over on Good Vibes. And then Friday, Ali, we have a Friendlies episode with Claire Emsley, who I know was your Angel City teammate.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing guest.
Yeah, she was incredible to talk to. I laughed out loud multiple times. She told us a lot about her journey through pregnancy and her training journey.
Oh yeah.
So tune in for that on Friday. It's so good. I just listened to it back today and I'm like obsessed. So check that out on Friday. Make sure you're following along with us across all of our social media, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Women's Game MIB. You can send us an email at womensgamemib@menandblazers.com. And you can call the Sammy Banana phone. I shouted that out on this episode, so I'll shout it out one more time. Call and leave me a message. Ask me a question. 855-611-4050. Thank you again to everybody who called in. Thank you to Ali Riley.
Thank you.
We love having you here. And thanks to the entire team at the Women's Game, Men and Blazers. I'm Sam Mewis. This is Women's Game. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you soon.